guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new around here, thanks for stopping by. My name's Tolu. On this channel I share content all around personal finance, budgeting, frugal living, and I show you how to live your best life on a budget. In today's video guys, what I'm going to be doing is a part 2 to the video in which I uploaded yesterday, where I spoke to you all about an emergency fund. So in that video I explained what an emergency fund is, why it's so important, the benefits of having one, and how much you actually need to have in your emergency fund. So if you haven't watched that video yet, I suggest you click over here and watch that video to find out what an emergency fund is and why it's so important to have one. In this video what I'm going to do is take it a step further. Now that we know exactly what an emergency fund is and why we need one, what I want to do in this video is really break down the steps in which you can take to quickly build your emergency fund. Some of these things you may have considered before, or some of these things you may not have even thought of before. My hope is that by watching this video you're really going to be inspired to start building your emergency fund, and you're really going to find practical steps in which you can start taking today in order to get that emergency fund in place. Okay, so how to build up your emergency fund super fast. Do you want the short answer or the long answer? So in short, you're going to need to find ways to reduce your expenses and increase your income. But the long answer, I'm going to explain in a lot more detail for you now. So now you know you want to build your emergency fund. Okay, so how are you actually going to do it? So these are some of the ways in which you can start building your emergency fund today. So I like to break the emergency fund building process into 3 parts. So the first part is really getting that foundation in place, getting a system that works for you. The second part is then finding ways to reduce your expenses, and then the third part will be finding ways to increase your income. So I think if you get those 3 steps in place, you'll really be able to accelerate the process of building your emergency fund. So let's start with the first step and the first part, which is getting that foundation right. So if you've been around my channel for any length of time, you may know what this first step that I'm going to mention is. But the first step is create a budget and get a plan in place. Without a budget and without a plan for your money, it's going to be very hard for you to start building this emergency fund. So if you don't have a budget in place, I'd recommend checking out this video where I talk all about the basics of budgeting and how to set a budget up. But if you don't have a budget in place, that's definitely the first thing that you're going to want to get sorted. Once you have a budget and you know exactly how much money you have available to put towards the emergency fund, then you're going to be ready for the next part of it. So once you have a budget in place and you know exactly how much you have remaining to put towards building this emergency fund, the next thing to do is really automate that process, because what we really want to do is simplify the process of building this emergency fund. And the reality is, a lot of the times when it's not a simplified process, it's hard to commit to on a regular basis. But if you take yourself out of the equation and you get a system in place that works for you, it's going to be a lot easier to build that emergency fund over the coming months. Once you've created your budget and you know you have £50 that you can put towards your emergency fund every month, you really want to automate that process. So set up a standing order, so every single time you get paid, money goes straight into that account in which you've created for your emergency fund, and then forget about it. Don't even think about it again. You know that as soon as you get paid, that £50 is going straight to the emergency fund, and as time goes on, every month you're going to see your emergency fund is growing without you even having to do anything. Another thing that's really going to help you accelerate this building of your emergency fund is to break that goal down into smaller monthly goals. So if you're saying you want to save a £3,000 emergency fund, then you're going to want to take that £3,000 and divide it by 12 and work backwards. So that means every single month you're going to need to save £250. Now if you're in that position that I spoke about earlier, where I was saying automate it, and you're putting £50 a month towards your emergency fund, then that means there's another £200 that you're going to need to be finding every month in order to reach that goal, in which case you're going to want to do the things that I'm going to mention later on in this video in terms of finding ways to increase your income in order to be able to meet that goal. Another foundational thing that will help you in this process of building your emergency fund is finding yourself an accountability partner. Find somebody that you trust, that you know is going to really have your back, and is going to be that person you need to motivate you and hold you accountable to those goals in which you've set yourself. Another thing that's going to really help you build this emergency fund is visualizing that goal. So if you said to yourself you want to save £3,000 in the next year to build your emergency fund, then trackers like this will really help you visualize that goal and see where you're going. I used it when I was building my emergency fund, and it really did help me, because every single month when I was able to color in a few of those coins, it made me feel like I was making progress, and I could see the growth, and I could see that I was getting so much closer to reaching my goal. Okay, so now we've got the foundational things out of the way. How are we going to go about reducing our expenses in order to build this emergency fund? So the first thing I would suggest is reduce those takeaways. So how much are you spending at the moment on takeaways every single month? If you're spending £200, see if you can reduce it to 150. If you're spending £150, see if you can reduce it to 100. If you're spending 100, see if you can reduce it to £50. Whatever you're currently spending on takeaways, see if you can reduce it by a certain amount, and that certain amount that you're saving, put towards your emergency fund. Reduce your energy usage. So I've done a whole video over here which you can watch, and it shows you different ways to save money on your utility bills. Saving money on your utility bills is ultimately going to save money on your budget, which you can then put towards building your emergency fund. What are your negotiating skills like? When your mobile phone contract is up for renewal, don't just automatically take whatever the deal is that's on the table, that's offered to you by your mobile phone provider. Speak to them, give them a call and see if you can negotiate a better deal. Be prepared to leave if they're not giving you what you want for your money. I do this all the time when it comes to my mobile phone contract. So many times I used to be on the phone to T-Mobile. This was EE back in the days. I'm just showing my age. So I'll be on the phone to them like, yeah, I need to get a better deal. No, I've had a better offer from Orange. So if you're not going to do what I want, then I'm going to have to leave. And I remember one time I did this and the guy was like, oh, I'm sorry to hear this, miss. Sorry that you're leaving. I was like, oh no, you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to actually beg for me to stay. He literally called my bluff and I had to leave. So be prepared to leave if you have to, if it means you're going to get a better deal elsewhere. Do this with everything that you pay contract for. So whether it's your phone, whether it's your home insurance, car insurance, everything that's a contract that you know you can negotiate on, try your best to negotiate so that you can get a better deal, and that money that you're saved, put towards your emergency fund. View your current subscriptions. Look at the subscriptions that you currently have and see which ones you can do without for a period of time while you're trying to build this emergency fund. So can you cancel that Netflix since you already have a Sky subscription? See where you can cut back, cancel those subscriptions, and that money that you're saving, put towards that emergency fund. Other ways that you can reduce your expenses are things like a pantry challenge. So this is something I did this year and I was able to save a couple of £100 just by doing that. So the pantry challenge is where you use up things in your house, in the kitchen. So things in the fridge, things in the freezer, things in the store cupboard that have been there for years or months that you haven't used, and you're always shopping for food but you never use all that old stuff that you have in the house. So challenge yourself for 1 month and say, this month, no grocery shopping. So that £200 or £300 in which you would ordinarily spend that month on your groceries, you're going to put that straight towards your emergency fund and you're going to use what you have in the house. Food generally is one of those budget busters, and that's definitely one of the keys to finding money in your budget to put towards your savings. So things like meal prepping and meal planning are really going to help you save a lot of money because you're not just buying food on a whim, and a lot less food is being wasted when you do this. So definitely meal planning and meal prepping, having a plan for your meals on a weekly basis is really going to save you so much money when it comes to your groceries, and this money that you save you can then put towards building that emergency fund. Given the current state of affairs in the UK, a lot of people are working from home. Now that money that you've saved on transport and travelling to work, that money can be put towards your emergency fund. And if you are currently still commuting to work, maybe consider alternative ways to get to work if it's possible. So I know a lot of people get the tube and train to work because yes, it gets you to work quicker, but maybe consider getting the bus to work. It might mean it takes you an extra half an hour, but that money that you're saving on traveling to work and commuting, you can then put that money towards your emergency fund. So now that we've found ways to reduce our expenses, we found an extra £100 to put towards our £250 savings goal. So now we're saving £150. We had that £50 in which we were automating, and then we found another £100 in our budget to go towards our £3,000 emergency fund goal for the year. So now we need another £100. So this is where the final step and the final stage comes into play, and this is finding ways to increase your income. The reality is the only way we're going to reach that emergency fund goal of £250 a month is finding ways to make extra money. So in this last part of the video, what I'm going to be doing is sharing with you different ways that you can increase your income in order to reach that goal of saving your emergency fund fast. So my first suggestion is to start freelancing. What do you currently do in your day job, in your 9 to 5? The skill that you have that you're using in that day job, somebody else will pay you for as a contractor to do for them. So let's say for example you're an accountant, then doing somebody's bookkeeping and doing somebody's accounts is something that they would pay you for in addition to your day job. So see if you can pick up 1 or 2 extra clients a week. That extra money can then be put towards your emergency fund. How long have you been in your current place of employment? Maybe it might be time to consider a job change and a job switch so that you can get a pay rise in order to accelerate the savings of your emergency fund. I appreciate the economy right now is in a crazy place and people are losing their jobs left, right and centre. But equally, people are still getting jobs, people are still being employed, and people are still advertising roles. Switching jobs right now isn't something you want to consider doing now, due to the fact that at least you have job security with your current employer. You've been there for over 2 years, so if worst case scenario comes, you can get some kind of redundancy pay. I appreciate that premise. So then maybe the next thing you could consider is a second job. I know at the moment people like Amazon, My Hermes, Uber Eats, Just Eat, all these delivery type companies, right now they are recruiting like crazy. They are taking on people left, right and centre. So now would be a good time to pick up that second flexible working role, so you can do shifts around your family, around your lifestyle, around your current employment. And that money that you're getting from your second job, you can put that towards your emergency fund. While on the topic of taking on second jobs, now might be the time to start that side hustle. So is there something that you're currently doing and you do for fun now that you could possibly get paid for? Now might be the time to explore that idea. So do you like baking? Do you like cooking? Do you like making clothes? Are you good at writing blog articles? Are you good at writing content? Maybe you want to even start creating videos for YouTube, survey sites, mystery shopping. There's so many different side gigs that you can give a go and start exploring, but just be open to the idea of it and you'll be surprised at the opportunities that are out there for you to make an additional income stream. After watching this video, do a YouTube search for side hustle ideas. You'll be blown away by the different side hustle ideas that are out there that people are using to make money online and make money from their homes. So definitely explore these side hustle options. Even if you can make an extra £100 a month, that money can go towards building your emergency fund. And if pursuing all of those side hustles that I've mentioned just seem like too much work and you're like, nah, I don't want to do that, this is something that you can definitely do. And this is to sell things that you have in your house. There's things in your house that have a monetary value on it that you may not see the value in, but somebody else is going to see that value and they're going to pay you money for it. You have websites like Facebook Marketplace, Spock, even Gumtree, in which you can sell these used things on and make additional money from it. Facebook Marketplace, I can't tell you the amount of things that I've even purchased on there myself. So people will definitely buy your things, so don't think that, oh, no one's going to pay me any money for this is crap. You'll be very surprised at the things in which people will pay money for. Particularly right now in the season we're in, people want to save their money and buying brand new isn't an option for everybody. So people are very much into buying used goods and used items, particularly if it's in good condition. So definitely have a look around you, see the things in your house that have a monetary value and see if you can sell those things, make extra money and take that money and put it in that emergency fund. So these are many of the different things that you can do in order to build this emergency fund super fast. I hope you found it useful. I hope some of these ideas have opened your mind to thinking about different ways in which you can reduce your expenses and increase your income in order to get that emergency fund going as quickly as possible. But if you have any suggestions and recommendations, other things that you've done in order to help you build your emergency fund, I appreciate if you leave them in the comment section below so that other people can hear these ideas and be inspired by them and apply some of them to their finances too. But with that being said guys, that's it for another video. If you enjoyed the video, then do me a favor and give it a big thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet done so. Share this video with a friend and a family member and I will see you on my next video. Thanks for watching guys, bye.